right, some trade news out overnight. Beijing out with a list of U.S. products that will be exempt from additional tariffs. Eunice Yoon joins us with more on this front. And Eunice, my first question looking at this, is this something of a peace offering? And I think you think it's a little different than that.
Yeah, that's right. First of all, with the list, it includes 16 types of U.S. imports. And the tariffs, which the Chinese have said have been countermeasures for the U.S.'s Section 301 investigation, are going to be suspended as of September 17th for a year. Some of the tariffs are refundable. The Chinese said that also some of the products, some more products could be added onto exemption lists. And the products generally are mainly around agricultural products, such as insecticides and feed, as well as drugs. Now, the announcement comes as both sides are preparing to have high-level negotiations in October in Washington. And the Foreign Ministry said today that it was hopeful that the U.S., along with the Chinese, would create, quote, favorable conditions for the negotiations. But this was interesting. Just in the past hour, state radio gave a little bit of a hint as to why the Chinese decided to do this, saying that the exemptions are meant to reduce the impact of the trade dispute on companies in China. So similar to how the Trump administration had decided to delay some tariffs to December in order to not disrupt Christmas, which was seen more of a concession to U.S. business and U.S. consumers, it looks as though the Chinese are being much more practical about trying to make sure that the tariffs don't really affect some serious issues that they have here, especially in the agricultural sector. One is the African swine fever, which has been killing off a large part of the pig population, and the government, as much as it can, is trying to keep it under control. And then there's the fall army worm, which is a bug which has been invading the crops and also a serious issue here. So it could be that, and it looks as though the Chinese are just trying to be much more practical when it comes to these tariffs.
Separately, I'd seen another report that said the American Chamber of Commerce did a survey of U.S. companies with operations in China. And according to that survey, many of them are moving operations out of China at a more rapid clip than had been expected. I think the number I saw was that 26.5% of those companies that were surveyed said that they were redirecting some of their foreign investment to other countries. How much pressure does that put on the situation?
And I think that was really... Yeah, I think that was really a highlight because that number of 26.5%, it was 7 points more than last year. And it really showed that American companies are being affected by these tariffs. They said that one of the main motivations was that the tariffs were affecting their revenues. They also feel like they don't get enough access to the Chinese market. And so the combination hasn't been very good for the business. So like you said, that more of them are redirecting investments that were meant for China outside of this country. Also looking forward, they weren't really particularly optimistic about a trade deal and said that if there isn't a deal in 2020, they think that the situation is going to get a lot worse.
I mean, those are long-term strategic investments, and it's hard to change the flow once they start moving out of a country. Does that resonate, or is that a concern, or is it, look, just the price of trying to get something done in terms of the Chinese government perspective on this?
I think it's a very, very difficult situation right now for a lot of these U.S. companies, because when I talk to manufacturers over the past several weeks, especially, a lot of them told me that they are stuck, that they might want to move some of the business aside. I've been talking to a lot of different people who have been sending teams to other countries to try to assess exactly how practical it is for them to move their businesses out and or at least some of the production to diversify more. And it's just that the infrastructure here is so strong and the skill set is so strong, but at the same time, they are being hit by this political pressure from the Trump administration. And so pretty much everybody that I've ever talked to who's in the manufacturing industry is at least thinking about, if not already, redirecting some of their investments. And I think that was the crux of what was coming out of that survey.